Okay, so I'm Scott Deal, and this is my colleague Michael Drews, and we're both professors in the Music and Arts Technology Department at IUPUI in Indianapolis. And we're also members of a trio, Big Robot, which is an electroacoustic computer media trio. Is that how you characterize it?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And so we've been playing
And
tonight.
our third member, Jordan Munson.
Right, Jordan Munson, who's also a colleague
Can't
here at
be
IUPUI. But anyway, so our trio does a lot of the work that we filmed tonight, which is putting microphones on acoustic instruments, and in our case, a lot of percussion, and then running it through a computer and processing it, and then spitting that back out, and the players who are playing the acoustic instruments can hear the electronics and they react to it, and so the music takes on this, it sort of comes from a classical background, but also a lot of electronic music background and some rock. But the idea is to sort of have live music where you're actually engaging the electronic sounds as a player, as opposed to just playing to a tape.
Some of the music that we recorded in this session reflects some of the very early experiments that we did to get this group started. And what you saw in the recording session was one of our first kind of performance scenarios that we developed, where we put a microphone on Scott, and I record his playing. It comes to my laptop. I'm able to process that recording that I made in real time and play it back to him, and then he can respond. And in that way, we're just like any other instrumentalists that would be playing together. It creates a situation where we can respond to each other in a very fluid and expressive manner. At the time, it wasn't that kind of fluid expressiveness wasn't really associated with computer music, and for us, it's been kind of a staple.
And you know, it's interesting, just tonight going back to playing a snare drum and computer duet, it really brought back a lot of memories, because I believe in many ways that's how we started.
Exactly, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, that was like the very first thing that we started doing. Yeah.
And the snare drum is so great because it's like white noise. It's electronic, even though it's acoustic. And so you're playing it, and suddenly you're hearing very natural electronic sound, but no, that's the snare drum. I mean, it's almost like they're cousins, you know, the white noise from electronic music. The sounds you get with the snare drum sample. I mean, you can get really high pitched, it can go way low, and some sounds work that way and some don't, but the snare drum always seems to come through with some really interesting stuff.
I agree.
It's just got that spectrum of sounds that it likes the computer, you know, and it likes the microphone.
In general,
is
likes that. I mean, because it's noisy.
Right. It's noisy.
It's easy for me to play because it's not like you're like in the key of G, please.
Right.
and so we could do that with that.
Yeah.
That kind of tool.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can talk a little bit about, because some of these people, or many people I think that would be watching this video are going to be university music students. They're working on solos, chamber music. They're, you know, or they're in jazz band, but they're looking at a lot of music, sheet music, and so from our perspective of electroacoustic musicians scoring things out, what's the difference between what we're putting out and what some people that we work with in the field put out, and say a traditional score?
It's funny, I was just having a conversation with one of my students who's doing a scoring project the other day, and we were talking about, well, what kinds of things for this music do you need to notate? What kinds of things are helpful, and what kinds of things are better left to the performer?
Right.
That's no different than any music, right? I mean, you don't write out all the rubato and everything, and some things are left to the performer. Certainly, with our scores, we need to have, you know, things scored that allow for a really strict structure and really strict timing, because that's the thing that holds everything together. So we have a lot of time-based cue notation in our scores. I do know that they need to allow for a lot of room for improvisation, for sure.
Exactly.
But still
That's what
to
I
have
think
the
too.
structure that holds it together.
Well, just to dive in on that point, I think that that's one of the fundamental issues for scoring for electroacoustic musicians, is that the computer, and when you're engaging computer, you need to have room to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just trying to play straight notes or exactly what's written, but you're dealing with a computer program that variability is its greatest strength, and
Right.
sometimes uncertainty is its greatest strength. You don't always know what's the sound that's going to come out unless you simply just record the sound and do playback, but that's boring. Who wants
Right.
that? So if you're doing live electronics, it demands that the musician take a step back from just playing everything notated and have room to breathe, but also change the notes and change the ambience of what they're doing to play ensemble with the computer.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the writing in an idiomatic way
Yeah.
for a computer electronic
Right.
based instrument.
Well, here's another question that when Tim sent me some ideas to talk about, that I'll hit you with. I haven't asked you this yet, and so we can have a little discussion. This is for our friends out there who, are thinking about, well, maybe I'd like to get some software on my computer and start doing the same kind of thing. So the question is, what do you need to get started to play electroacoustic music?
Well, first of all, I would
Did I
say
surprise
no,
you with that
not
question?
at all. Don't let anything stop you. Don't well, my computer's not good enough, or I don't have the right controller or the right microphones. Just make stuff with what you have, no matter what
Amen.
it is. If it's just
Absolutely.
if it's just GarageBand, then it's just GarageBand.
That's
You know,
a great point.
it just doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. You can make something cool with.
Or Audacity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, half the time I had that piece of crap white laptop that was ancient, and like that didn't stop anything. We played all over with that thing, you know. So obviously, having a computer of some kind is a good thing. Having a microphone of whatever quality it is, it's an SM57, it's then fine. But you need a microphone just to be able to get the
Right.
outside world into the computer. And it's very useful to have some kind of controller, because it's kind of a drag trying to make music on a computer keyboard. You
And
need
talk about what a controller does, briefly.
So it allows you to take performance data, like pressing keys or moving a fader, and it sends that information into the computer, and you can use that to shape sound and to manipulate sound. But the important thing is it's got to be something you can get your hands on, so that it actually feels like an instrument, because that's the big part of it. Everything else after that is just extra.
Yeah.
It just makes it. Oh yeah, an interface. I mean, technically, you could still come out well, no, you need the interface. So
You
can
need
get the
some
microphone.
kind, and now they're
Yeah.
so cheap.
Yes.
So let's articulate that. A computer interface which takes sound from the analog world and brings it into the computer digitally, and a microphone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you can get software for free that will get you a long way. You can
Yes.
get Audacity is free, Reaper is free, isn't it, or $40? It's an amazing digital audio workstation with a lot of depth. And I agree with you about the microphone. And here's something that I learned when I started using the microphone. It really opened up my musical world in terms of what I was listening to.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think if you're going to get into this, you owe it to yourself to get a microphone, because you will be amazed at what your perception of music is once you're actually listening to get something into the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly you find yourself on a bus and you're listening to things
Exactly.
you've never listened to before.
There's the music everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a whole universe of stuff.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And And it was a revelation when I started working with microphones that, oh my goodness, it's just like incredible what you can capture as opposed to just using presets in some of the software.
Yeah,